Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I am here with Mr. Gus Matos.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, Gus, you are a filmmaker.
I'm mostly right now acting, but yes, I'm looking to start some projects up. I have a couple of things that I'm developing, writing scripts, and trying to get a crew together. But yeah,
So, but you're predominantly acting now.
correct. Yes.
Okay. So, have you? I'm gonna go back to filmmaking. Have
Mhm.
you done filmmaking, or is that something an area, a field you're trying to move towards?
I've kind of done assistant directing. I've kind of been a second director on some things, some student films, some small projects, fan films for friends. Because I have a background in pro wrestling.
Okay.
I was a pro wrestler for a while, so I do some stunt work, some stunt fighting, and stuff like that. So I kind of did some stunt coordinating and help with directing on fight scenes because directing a fight scene is a little bit different than just directing
Sure.
a dialogue scene.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk more about acting today.
Absolutely.
So when did you get into acting?
Pretty much on and off my whole life. The passion for it started in grade school. Believe it or not, the very first time I got the acting bug was we did a fourth grade production. I know it's kind of the Christmas Carol,
Uh-huh.
and I was able to memorize the whole script. I don't mean just my lines, everyone's. Help the
Show
teacher
off.
direct a little bit. Well, when you're that young, there's nothing, you absorb everything. So, and then from there, I did some stuff in high school. I really, in my younger 20s, because I was born and raised in New York, I was still living there. I got the pro wrestling bug in my 20s, so I started doing that. And once, because, no, big secret, pro wrestling's kind of like acting. You have to be able to engage the crowd in a live performance. It's kind of like being a stage performer. You got to be live and in the moment and react to the crowd. So I went into that. And then when I moved here back in 2005, I met up with some folks that were doing a TV pilot.
Mhm.
It was about 2006. It was called The Unjust Six. And it was kind of an action TV series, kind of their updated version of the A-Team.
Okay.
And so I did the pilot for them on that, then just did on and off some things here and there. But I've really, over the last year and a half, really wanted to get a lot more into it. I've met Dana and Jolene from Back to One
Mhm.
Productions. You've had them on the show.
Yes.
And I met them through cosplay.
Okay.
I'm also a cosplayer. I run a community group that does children's events.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
we do. We're a complete nonprofit, and that's how I met them. And then they cast me in a show they were doing called Geek Girls,
Okay.
and that's when I caught the bug again. And I've just been wanting to do things ever
That
since.
bug is easy to catch,
It
isn't it?
is. It's very easy. It's just so much fun. To me, it's fun. It's a lot of hard work. I don't want anybody to think that anyone can do it.
Right.
It takes a lot of dedication.
Well, anyone can do it, but it takes a lot of dedication.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Are you willing to do that?
Oh yeah.
Take hours away from your family or your fun life or whatever to dedicate to acting.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I took a break for a while because I was a single dad of two girls.
Oh.
So, and I raised them. They're now adult children. Giving away my age a bit, but it was me. I was raising them, and their mom was in their life. But I mean, it's as a single dad, unmarried.
Right.
You spend a lot of time,
Sure.
making sure
Because
they grow
being
up
an
right.
actor, one of our guests described it as a pie. I mean, you
Mhm.
think of all the slices on that pie that you spend towards acting and how much you can give to, say, your family or whatever, because you have your studying, you have your scouting for
Mhm.
work. I mean, you have your filming. You have so much that you're doing throughout the month, I will say.
Mhm.
But how much time are you able to give to? How much free time do you have?
What's that?
Yes.
What's free time?
Right. So if you're an aspiring actor, I mean, you have to think about that. It's not just about, I want to go
Mhm.
be with the stars. I want to
Exactly.
go have some fun.
The truth to that starving actor because
Mm-hmm.
you have a choice. You work a full-time job and you act when you can, or you try to act and you're not really going to be able to work.
Right.
But yeah, it took a lot out of me because I was working full 8 hours, being a single dad, and so I kind of put it on the back burner a bit. But now that my children are adults, I've kind of the ideas I've had and the scripts I'm trying to develop, I've had since they were about 5. And now I can finally start working on them.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So going back to where you mentioned starving actor, I
Mhm.
just wanted to touch base on that because I see when you look at some of the social media acting groups,
Mhm.
this topic always comes up about being paid. Okay.
Mhm.
And I believe everyone should be paid for their work. But then when you have people that have never touched a toe on the set and they're wanting to be paid, I mean, they have no experience. They don't have a resume. They don't have a headshot. They don't.
Right. Well,
They have
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, and they expect it right away, right? I can tell you from not my personal experience, but my brother, he is also an actor, and
Mhm.
he's been doing it for the last 25 years. He probably didn't get paid for the first 5 years that he did it, and he's actually a stuntman too. He's been in quite a few like big movies.
Mm.
The first one I can think of off the top of my head is Transporter 2,
Okay.
and he worked on that for a week. Yes, he's finally started getting paid after about 5 years and doing well. But yeah, it takes a lot of dedication for that
Right.
because
But you have to watch out that you're not getting labeled as someone that'll do free work
some for
or
nothing.
yes
Yeah.
or background extra because people have gotten stuck in that.
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of relating back to when I started wrestling. When you first start pro wrestling, kind of like when you start acting, your first 6 months or so, you're going to be doing free gigs.
Mm.
You're going to be doing free shows. But then after that, it's when you have to decide to go, okay, no, I'm not doing anything else if I'm not getting paid.
So how did you get? I want to go into
Mhm.
wrestling. How did you start wrestling? Were you wrestling in college or?
No. I never. I was a wrestling geek, a fan, or as they call them, a mark, since I was probably 5 years old, and I always wanted to do it.
Mm.
And then when I was in my 20s, living in Brooklyn still, a local wrestling federation opened up a school.
Oh.
So I took it as a sign. I said, all right, I'm going to go down and try. After the first night and my body was beat up, I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And I did it for about 5 years in New York. And then when I moved here, I hooked up with a wrestling federation here and did it for about another 3 on and off.
Okay.
So for me, it was a lot of fun because I get to express my creative side. Because when you're a wrestler and you're working in small independents, as they call them, you have to build your own character. You have to create your own character. And then you kind of develop writing yourself. So, because like I said, it's like kind of an interactive with so it's almost improv. Because when you go out there, depending on whether you're what they refer to as a face, which is a good guy, or a heel, which is a bad guy, you have to engage with the crowd that way. You either have to get them to love you or hate you.
So, how do you do? What's the difference? Okay, you're a wrestler. You're an entertaining wrestler.
Right.
Okay. What's the difference between an entertaining wrestler and, say, a wrestler that doesn't do the entertaining, but they're participating in meets or whatever they call it?
Well,
I don't know the terminology.
When you're a wrestler, say like an Olympic style wrestler, you're there. It's one-on-one with the guy. You don't engage with anyone. It's just your opponent. Okay. Whereas a wrestler, when you're what they like to call now it's Dwayne Johnson. Let's use him as an example. He was a professional wrestler, what they like to call a sports entertainer.
Oh, okay.
Because what you do is it is very physical. If anyone, the quickest way to get a wrestler offended is to tell them that it's fake, because it is.
You can tell my grandmother that.
Oh no.
My grandmother loved waking up watching the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know that's fake, don't you? Oh. No, you couldn't tell her that.
It's what they like to say. It's coordinated and how would you say predetermined, but all the physicality is real. I've gotten a tooth knocked out. I have a torn meniscus in my right knee. I had shoulder surgery on my left shoulder, and
is it worth it?
Oh yeah. All right, it's so worth it. Hey, I wake up every morning, my knees pop and my back cracks, but I'm like, if they told me tomorrow I could wrestle again, I would do it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just because again, as an entertainer, because I've done stuff like MC shows and all that, and that's a lot of fun, engaging and interacting with the crowd. But there is nothing like walking out there and having a few hundred, a few thousand people just hate you.
Mm.
It's more fun actually to be the bad
Do
guy.
we have that in Arizona?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's quite a few wrestling federations here.
Oh, okay.
It's just a lot of fun because when you get out there, and it's actually a lot of fun for the crowd to hate you.
So, and they have the shows.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Usually you can find some here like at least once a month.
really? I've never heard of those.
There's one. The only one that pops into my head right now immediately is this one called Rising Phoenix.
Mm.
I wrestled for them a few times before. They actually have a wrestling school up in North Phoenix. But yeah, the one I wrestled for previously here was called Impact Zone. Unfortunately, they're not here anymore.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the building we wrestled in is not here anymore either. It was called The Sets in Tempe. It's now in LA Fitness.
You know what I noticed about you?
What's that?
Whenever you said New York,
New
your
York.
accent changed.
Well, I have two voices that I use. I use my voice, which was I talk like this. This is me every day. But then there's the interview voice when you have to turn it on and off. You kind of you have to do that.
Okay,
because
but you can't turn that New York on and off.
No, it stays on there. Oh, when you say New York, no, there's
You see?
there's a few words that a New Yorker will always pronounce like a New Yorker. It's New York, coffee, and water. Everybody mispronounces coffee for some reason. They say coffee. It's like, where's the A? No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
So, as a wrestler,
Mhm.
can you talk about some of the personas that you've played?
Absolutely. The first one I developed, his name was Sabotage.
Okay.
It was a punk rock gimmick. They call it gimmick when you have your act. It's called a gimmick. I had a mohawk. I wore camo pants and boots, and that was my first.
Okay.
And then after that, I kind of evolved him into a kind of like a street thug, and his name was Terra X.
Okay.
I was part of a group called the Hit Squad.
Yes, I was going to say those are some bad guy names.
Yeah, DA, the Hit Squad. Actually, after a while, we became fan favorites because we had a lot of fun doing it. And I had a tag team partner, and his name was Grim Reefer.
Oh.
And our gimmick was...
that's a popular name right there.
Yeah, we dabbled in certain things that were not kind of legal at the time. That was our gimmick. We didn't really do it, but that was it. We portrayed...
I don't know about that. He smiled when he said that.
No, we portrayed... we were like a gangster Cheech and Chong. But yeah, that's what... And then when I came here, since here on the West Coast is a lot different from the East Coast, I became kind of like a mob boss, and his name was Don Montana. The reason why I chose Montana is because my favorite movie, Scarface. So that's where the Montana came from. And as you know, mob boss usually called Don, so that's what it was.
So we're going to get back into acting now. That wrestling was just so interesting. So you brought us some media today.
I did.
Can you tell me a little bit about that before we watch that?
This is a great project. I was fortunate enough to work with Dana and Jolene from Back to One Productions. It was called Nerd Alert. Oh. It's basically the concept of it is that in the geek community, there's even rivalries there. DC lovers versus Marvel lovers. In anime, there's dubbed versus subbed, which is they either voice over the Japanese or they subtitle it. Star Wars is Star Trek. So Dana and Jolene came up with the concept of it. What if those two fandoms like opposed each other in a battle? And it was great. We shot it over a couple of days. It was a really quick shoot, but it was so much fun. We shot it thanks to the guys over at Samurai Comics. Mm-hmm. They would let us use their location. And then we went to this location where it's a Nerf arena. So it's Nerf guns with the little balls, and you just shoot them at each other. So it was really fun to do. And I just brought some of the clips from it because I have a blast shooting with Dana and Jolene because they're so much fun.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at this.
So as you can see, why it was a lot of
I
fun.
bet it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I did my own stunts in that one.
Did
by the way.
you?
Yeah.
So, do you have any new projects coming up?
Well, we just finished shooting with Back to One Productions. We just finished shooting something called Spoiler Alert,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a lot of fun as well. As far as that now, like I said, I'm working on developing a couple of things myself. I'm working on a project with another charity group. It's actually one of Arizona's official Santa Claus.
Oh,
We're working on doing kind of a children's show
okay.
for the Phoenix Children's Schools.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of like a special YouTube channel for them.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to be working on a couple of things for them to kind of like it's kind of a throwback to the days of Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Rogers and Howdy Doody, stuff like that.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
And you know, it is nice to see so many people in the film industry working on things for our children.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
It's a lot of the kids nowadays, they get thrown in front of YouTube and they just handed a tablet and there's no real interaction because
Right.
And to be honest with you, a lot of the children's shows now, I've seen it. I'm like, if my kids were little, I don't think I'd let them watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? We're used to things that is teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these shows aren't teaching. A lot of this stuff that they see is so violent.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why our children are violent. But we're putting them in front of things that are violent.
Exactly. Even shows that I've seen friends that let their kids watch shows like Rick and Morty. And I absolutely don't think that's for children. No, there's no that. And if people enjoy that show, that's great.
Yeah.
It's, as they say, teach their own.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no educational value to it.
Right.
Even now, I grew up in an age where Sesame Street was on PBS and anyone could watch it.
Right.
Now it's on HBO.
Oh,
so unless
I've been watching it so long. You also mentioned that you have a nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The nonprofit we have is called Heroes United AZ. It was started back in 2014 by myself and our co-founder, Johnny Carwell, because we were cosplayers together and we do superhero costumes and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's why if you find me on social media, most of my social media is Captain America AZ because that's kind of my main thing. And we started it with the hopes of spreading literacy and helping kids. So, and it's kind of doing some anti-bully stuff because we're all about like body positivity. Our members, don't look like supermodels or they're like in the Marvel universe on the movies.
Right.
We're just everyday people. And we want to project the kids that anybody can be.
Right. Right. I mean, they can see someone that looks like them.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And that's the greatest part.
Yes.
Like I'm Hispanic or Latino, Puerto Rican, Latinx, whichever one you choose. I was born and raised speaking Spanish. So it's great when I go out here to the inner cities when we're dressed as superheroes. I'm Captain America. And there's a little kid who their first language is Spanish. And they're afraid to come up to us. And I start speaking to them in Spanish. Their eyes light up. And they're like, Captain America speaks Spanish.
Right.
So it's great to see that.
But can you imagine how left out they would feel with all the other children being able to interact with the superheroes?
Exactly.
If you didn't speak Spanish.
Yep. Well, and it's also like right now, I'm sure everyone who's up to date with all the Marvel Universe stuff, Captain America is now Black. He's Falcon, Sam Wilson. And my co-founder, Johnny Carwell, he's Black. And so he dresses up now as Falcon, Captain America. And the kids have a great time with it because
that's awesome.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like the kids don't see past the superhero. Like they don't how
kids don't see color. That's taught by an adult.
Exactly.
Yes, kids don't see that.
Yeah.
They can all, as they say, they put them all in a dirt bucket. They'll all play in that dirt together.
To them, I'm just Captain America.
Right.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, also that's kind of evolved into us doing some fan films. So that's why I'm trying to get into production and directing now too. Because
so you'll start creating your own films.
We're going to be doing some fan films. We have a Batman that we're working on, a Batman short, and it is also a Punisher and Captain America short that we're working on too. So we're doing quite a few things.
Do you collaborate with any others that's pretty much doing the same? If there's someone doing the same thing that you're doing?
Yes, there's a young man. He goes by his production name escapes me right now, but he was doing his student thesis for his film class on a superhero short. He did a Spider-Man short that we did. I actually played the Punisher in that one.
Oh, okay.
And that one was a lot of fun also because we had a closed set of an airsoft stadium that's right here in Phoenix.
Mm.
And we had it all to ourselves. So I got to, actually, one of your guests you've had on, Ted Tanaka, I got to beat him up in that. So that was a lot of fun.
Leave Ted alone.
No, Ted's a great guy. Ted's an awesome guy. I hope to work with him on a couple of future projects as well. I was going to work on one of his projects that he has coming out, but unfortunately, due to the current state of the world, I was unable to work with him. But I can't wait. He has a lot of great ideas, and he's really passionate about it. So
great. So where can our audience find you?
They can find me. They can go to Facebook. They'll search for Just Gus.
Just Us?
Because I'm Just Gus.
Just Gus.
Just Gus.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Just Gus. And then also, I'm actually on TikTok.
So what are you doing on TikTok?
Oh, you'll see. No, Captain America AZ, I'm on TikTok. I do a lot of the fun stuff, like kind of like the cosplay stuff.
Okay, I'm going to have to look up Just Gus.
No TikTok dances. I don't have the coordination anymore.
Dancing.
I'm too old for that stuff. No, but yeah, and also on YouTube, I have a couple of my wrestling videos and stuff on there. It's also Captain America AZ. So
awesome. It was such a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we look forward to what's next for Just Gus.
Well, as soon as I have something ready for you, I'll come back and we can chop it up again.
Awesome. And thank you for joining us today here on Desert Wood Days, and we will catch you next time.